The Mathewson's showrooms are open for viewing. Hundreds of beautiful classics stand as a testament to the creativity of automotive designers.
I think modern cars are quite boring, whereas the old cars, somebody somewhere sat with a drawing board and they made that shape.
Most of the vehicles here today would have been manufactured between the 50s and 90s. That's currently the nostalgia sweet spot for most buyers.
This Metro here reminds me of my very first car. No parcel shelf, no rear wiper, no radio, and only one mirror for the driver's side. I'd love to own one again.
Out of everything here, though, it's the vehicles with the most history that sell the least.
They are difficult to find homes for. They're just not quite in vogue at the moment. You've got to have quite an exceptional car to tempt a pre-war car buyer.
It sounds exactly like the sort of restoration challenge that we should probably avoid. But we quite like the idea of preserving a piece of ancient motoring history. And after a look around, we're quite taken with this Morgan. It's just reached the grand old age of 84, and the poor old dear is missing a wheel. 25-year-old Henry Morgan opened his factory in Malvern, Worcestershire in 1906. His first creation, the Runabout, had one seat, 3 wheels, tiller steering and a tiny Peugeot engine. By 1911, he'd made room for a passenger and stuck a V-twin up front, all nicely exposed to the elements. Relative comfort didn't arrive until 1933. The F4, in theory, now had room for all the family, assuming nobody was over 5 foot tall. It still had 3 wheels, but this time a pressed steel chassis and an 8-horsepower Ford engine. In addition, there was the now famous ash wood frame that supported the body, still present in even the newest hand-built Morgans.
Yeah, I think there's certain guys out there that appreciate 3-wheelers. I'm being one of them. Del Boy Trotter's another one, of course. So there's some famous people that appreciate 3-wheelers. The car itself, I actually do quite like. Total thoroughbred, isn't it? Really, really nice car. I mean, we know we got 1 or 2 little issues. Look, bits and pieces.
What, like the doors falling off?
Like the doors coming apart, yeah.
Right. Do we need a joiner?
Yeah, you do, yeah. Yeah, you need a carpenter to repair the car. Might be beneficial if that didn't do it while you're driving down the road.
OK.
I like it, yeah. I can't help thinking it's got the wrong headlamps. I personally think they should be over here and they should be half that size. And the wing mirrors, no good. Should have a couple of period mirrors. They're expensive, but they look the part. Nice oval mirrors on the windscreen. A slight problem here, chaps.
Oh, hang on a minute.
We'll get around that in a minute. She's come out, look. No. She's come out of there, look.
Hang on, you've broken it.
Yeah, we need to sort that. But this is a great little engine. 1172 side valve Ford. Simple little thing to maintain and run. Quite economical. Quite powerful enough for a little motor like this. If you want a new or reconditioned distributor for that, you can get one tomorrow morning. It wants, there it goes. This is the beauty of these things. You can adjust the bonnet on the side of the road, yeah, without any tools. There you go. She's gone back in, look.
It may be a bit rickety, but it's still too tempting to resist. We're delighted to be the new owners of an original Morgan F4. But now the responsibility begins. Its rarity, peculiarity and age point to us needing a specialist. So we send it down to Norfolk to meet the appropriately named Restorer.
Restorer?
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that, does it?
Yes, he runs a business called MG Mecca, but he's still very much an all-rounder.
We restore MGs, but we've done E-types, Aston, Jensen. We like the challenge. We just like cars. It's a sturdy old thing. It is heavy to push. That's it, full lock.
And a turning circle of...
It's dreadful. Lock to lock was half a turn on the steering wheel, which is... You never come across that on any car.
Joining Russ for today's initial assessment, mechanic Charlie Hutchinson.
No experience with Morgan?
No, none at all.
But not daunted by it?
No, it looks like quite a simple car, to be fair. Probably quite a laugh to drive, I should think, with a friend in there to the pub or something. But I wouldn't want to do a long trip in it, I'm sure.
Blimey. Yeah, the frame's not very good.
No, no, there would seem better days, isn't it?
Yeah.
These screws should be screwed into there. I think they've worn the wood out.
It's probably been done in pine rather than ash, I should think. This is the same, look.
Yeah, so that's not very good, is it?
The bonnet and the wings can be sandblasted. The radiators, obviously, should be chromed. It looks like it's been stripped back to the brass underneath. The interior, I think, can be reused. That can all go again. We're not sure about the dash. It looks like it's an old piano or something. It's odd, isn't it? The wiring loom looks like it's been remade.
It was electric fan rather than the mechanical fan.
The new fuel pump. There's a good chance that that'll be fine.
The chassis is nice, though, isn't it? Yeah, the chassis
Brilliant.
does look...
It's obviously had new springs on it. The chassis is really good. It's obviously been...
Why don't we get it on the ramp and have a look?
Well, we could do, only it's 3 wheels and we've got a 4-wheel ramp. We're going to have to make a modification.
We seem to have picked wisely with this car, and there's a lot about it that's good. But this is no ordinary restoration.
It's all coach-built, handmade stuff. You can't just bolt a panel on. Even if you bought panels for it, I'm sure they wouldn't fit.
Most of the money is going to go on restoring the body shell.
And that's down to man hours?
Yeah.
And that's?
Hundreds of man hours.
So hundreds of man hours?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
In Norfolk, we're now understanding our 1930s Morgan as a car with good metal bits and very poor woodwork. But there's also a rather big unknown.
We still don't know, Russ, whether the car actually runs, do we?
No, we don't. No, we don't know whether it's going to get run, but I think it will.
You're going to go with Charlie in it?
No, not. He can go on his own, because we don't know whether the brakes work or anything yet.
It's very kind of him, isn't it? He used me as a test dummy.
Yeah, ignition's coming on, because we charged the battery. There's petrol in it as well. Right, so where's the starter on it?
That's what I thought it'd do.
Hang on, I thought you said you'd charged the battery.
We did charge the batteries.
And what's happened?
They've gone flat. We're going to get a jump battery, shall we?
Electric start?
Yeah.
You don't have to crank it by hand?
No, I think that's... I don't even know if it's got a starting handle. Yes, it has got a starting handle. Goes in the front pulley there. But no, cars had electric start pretty early on, from the 20s, certainly.
It's me carrying a thing with wheels on it.
The 12-volt starter pack should supply enough charge to fire the car up.
Yeah, well, as soon as I flick it on, it's going, you know, where it goes past 30 amps.
Yeah.
But things don't look right.
Well, that's weird, isn't it? Cars just never do what you expect them to do. They're like naughty children. They're just pedantic, awkward things. What will go wrong will go wrong.
As it turns out, the explanation for this particular annoyance is straight out of a GCSE physics book.
Although it's got 2 6-volt batteries, they are in parallel.
So it's 6 volts?
So it's 6 volt.
Not 12?
Not 12 volt, no. Need a 6-volt charger.
That didn't work either. So they recruit some muscle.
Ready?
We just want to make sure that the engine goes and the gearbox works and the clutch works before we start taking it apart.
Please have brakes.
Steers?
Yes, it does steer.
It now starts.
Starts and just about stops. Where's reverse? Is that reverse?
After all that excitement, we leave Russ and the team to do some quiet dismantling.
I don't think it'll take too long.
What's holding most of this car together?
Wood screws.
Back in Norfolk, our Morgan is more or less down to the bare bones. It wasn't difficult. It almost fell apart by itself.
It's not the strongest of vehicles, I have to say. The bulkhead should come with this, but it isn't going to.
You can see what it's been glued together with.
Glue. It's like builders use. Right, let's see how we lift the back end then. Oh, that was easy. Not out in the rain.
No, come back to me.
Oh, that's it.
That's one bit.
Got a three-wheel motorbike now.
No.
That's it then.
Is this where you told me you're not going to do it and we can have it back?
Yeah, we don't think we fancy doing it anymore.
Yeah.
I would say it's got a brand new chassis. There's no rust.
No, there's nothing.
You can reuse that. Nothing wrong with it.
As for the body, it's amazing it hasn't flown off in a pathetic breeze.
All the doors hanging on is this little bit of wood, which is literally just stopping it moving. I think it needs some sort of steel structure, tying into some sort of substructure which goes along the chassis to give it a bit more strength. But for the most part, all this rear structure, it can be reused, really.
Meanwhile, Russ's master fabricator,
Bob the welder, yeah.
Bob the welder?
Yeah.
has started work on the steel panels.
Bob's been looking at the front wings, which we've stripped the paint off to see what condition. And of course, they're full of patches, previous repairs, extra holes, very ripply.
Aluminium seems to have been a popular choice for a quick fix.
This one, got an alley patch. There's a patch there, and they're just riveted on. That's what they've done back in the day, yeah.
Make do and mend sort of thing.
Yeah, it's what it is.
Whoever did the repairs obviously didn't have access to steel or a welder, so flat rivets and a bit of brazing must have seemed like a good idea. And in some respects, it was.
This would have probably been lost. I'd have had to remake all that. But because they riveted it together, that's saved, isn't it? So I can reattach that, and then I've just got to make a little piece on the end.
It's good old pre-war metal, so it does repair very well. It's much better quality steel than modern steel.
Bob is reversing over 80 years of homemade bodgers. In some places, the panels were hammered on with nails.
This is the time-consuming bit, yeah. You have to cut a plate out, let it in, so that's all level. Then you have to finish it all off so you can't see the welds. Then it's got to be tried on the car, make sure it all fits. Then they've got to be filled, painted. That's just so time-consuming.
It's a labour of love for sure, but for a car this rare, we reckon it's well worth it. 8 months since our Morgan arrived at Russ's workshop, his voyage of discovery continues. Every piece of wood or metal that comes off needs to be assessed to decide what needs restoring and what needs replacing.
See, that's not original, that's a bit of pine.
To add to the complexity, the body is made of both aluminium and steel.
This is steel to there, look, it's rusty, and that's aluminium, that middle bit. That's why there's a joiner on it.
So it's fair to say there's a bit of filler in there, then?
Yeah, and it's fair to say there's quite a lot of corrosion, and it's electrolytic reaction, I think. It's like a battery between the steel and the aluminium, and it corrodes it.
Separating the metals or using insulating paint usually solves the problem.
Not so bad, that side. There's a little bit of corrosion here, but not a lot. We could probably save that. Just take these lights off. I think they're just...
Corroded on?
No, I think they're done with gutter bolts.
Presumably, Russ, you're never surprised at what you find.
No. We had a concrete seal on a Mini once. Somebody just filled it with concrete.
Stripping the paint to see if there's any more damage will help Russ decide if the rear end needs rebuilding. As for the bulkhead, the bit between the driver and the engine, this looks like it's been made with a knife and fork, so a new one will be constructed. Luckily, there's a source of high-quality plywood on site.
Hello? Do you have 3/4 marine ply?
18mm Far Eastern ply.
Yeah.
Why are we going for marine ply?
Because it's waterproof. But it's a It's a waterproof one. They might not call it marine ply, but it's a waterproof plywood, yeah. It's a fantastic finish, isn't it? Yeah.
The ash hardwood, which is mainly present in and around the doors, has been ordered. The bulkhead, in its current state, needs to be taken apart carefully.
I don't want to break this, because I want that as a pattern. This bit's going to be ash. That's probably one piece, and then they've screwed this bit to that. Did we just remake this in one piece, which is structurally how it should be? Yeah, that's it. So we've got a pattern for the side. We know this bulkhead fits. We'll put these brackets back on in exactly the same place because we know they'll work with the car. That'll be lovely.
This all sounded like a good plan, so we left them to it for a week or so. But when we returned, you could say there were a few surprises.
The car is transformed.
With a new body.
Well, it's got the back end on, hasn't it?
The old one was deemed unfixable and was in the skip.
Basically what we did was repaired the frame, we painted it black, completely made a new skin. That part is a separate entity and that needs bolting onto the chassis. And then we've got the bulkhead, which will then fix it onto that part of the frame. So we've kept the front face. There's a thin piece of ash on the front, but we've remade the rest of it. No, that's it.
The bonnet sections have been finished.
They're painted, yeah, but we've got to adjust the bulkhead to fit the bonnet. Then we'll make the doors. They're not the same size. One door's shorter than the other.
It may not look it, but our Morgan F4 is well on its way to completion. Even the original wings are ready to go on, having been expertly restored.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The black and the blue, it just looks very dapper, doesn't it? Very 30s.
Down in Norfolk, we're on the home straight with our 1939 Morgan F4. Admittedly, it doesn't look finished, but then these cars don't have many components on them anyway, so that's about right. The bonnet is reaching the end of a skillful restoration, so there should be no more hitches with the hinges. The wheels have been blasted and repainted, and parts of the interior trim are now much improved. But today, we're finally ready for a bit more woodwork.
This is one of the doors, which is a very unorthodox construction because you've got an ash frame and it's still pretty solid. We just put a new little bit in here because we're trying to save as much with the original car as we can. We've added it onto the frame, screwed it just to reinforce that top because we've had to put a twist in it in order to fit the body shell. Because when we got the car, the doors were flying, which means they were sticking out at the bottom by about an inch and touching at the top.
So the door isn't straight?
No, it's definitely not straight. It's got a massive rock in it.
And it's not the only thing about its construction that's a bit unusual.
On a modern door, you just put the skin around the frame, but this has got an extra skin, which you put the aluminium skin over. This is just a waterproof, very, very thin ply, which gives you the basic shape for the door and gives you something to put the skin onto. I've never seen a door made like this. Unusual, but quite feasible. So this aluminium's been cut on the guillotine, so we know it's square. We need half an inch overlap, plus we need a little bit, because when you fold it round, obviously you've got to fold it around the thickness, so you have to allow for that. It's better. So this back edge only needs a tiny little piece to roll over, so we'll cut that with some excess, then we'll trim it afterwards.
Is this a bit of the process you enjoy, Ross?
It's something I never get to do, because I'm always in the office.
You are enjoying it, though?
Yeah, I do quite enjoy doing it, yeah. contact adhesive. This is not very 1930s. Making it up as going along, really, but...
So the metal will take the shape
of the wooden door.
There'll be a few more hours shaping and testing the size, then edge priming and painting. To finish the car, about another week or so before we can ship it back to Yorkshire.
So if you just put it back a little bit, I think that's not far off. I think that's quite good. And the colour's lovely.
Russ, Charlie and the team have matched to the skills of those pre-war engineers who originally built this rare Morgan.
When we brought the car, Russ, you were up for a bit of a challenge for it. Has it lived up to every expectation?
Every challenge possible, yes. This one's been altered and changed and kept on the road, but we wanted to save it.
This is a slice of history, isn't it, that you're putting back together?
Yes, and it's a novelty, isn't it? The appeal to eccentric people. I think it puts a smile on your face when you're driving it.
Now safely back in Yorkshire, our Morgan is all finished, having had the quality restoration this rare piece of motoring history deserves. This three-wheeled octogenarian didn't come with a manual, which partly explains why the project took 10 months. So with that in mind, how much did it all cost? Including tax and commission, our F4 was £13,625 to buy. Parts were £7,027 and labour was £39,202, bringing the total to an eye-watering £59,854. Might be best not to mention this to Derek.
Here we have this four-cylinder, three-wheel Morgan, and I think it's just fantastic. The first second I saw this car, and I think we've sold it at least once before.
Well, you've certainly sold it to us, Derek, because when we bought it, we needed a joiner and some to get it back on the road.
Yeah, we were looking for some mugs, and we found them. And no, I sold it initially. I think it was brought up from memory from down south somewhere. I mean, it never looked like this. This is just cosmetically lovely.
They've done all the back-end tin work.
Have they?
Yeah, and a lot of it had been patched up by previous owners.
Oh, of course it would. Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt. Well, owners repaired their own cars, as simple as that, and they've done it to the standard that they could work to, and so consequently you get some good ones, get some bad ones. Mostly bad ones, obviously, because most of the guys that patched this up and kept it on the road were actually bakers by profession, or butchers, and so they just made the best of it. But I love the colour, Speedwell blue we call it, black wings, very traditional. I mean, the radiator surround's gorgeous, isn't it? It's just to die for. What I'd have given for that car when I was 16, well, you'd have given a kidney, wouldn't you? It's absolutely fabulous.
Would you give the other kidney for it now?
No, I've outgrown them now, but they made a lovely job. Engine's running nice. We had it running a little while ago. Maybe she's cooled off a bit now, maybe, but there you go, very nearly, isn't she? Beautiful, isn't that lovely? What a sweet little engine. But lovely little side valve engines, these nice little things. Always be very careful. A little tip with these side valve engines, these little Ford engines, don't let them get low on oil. They only hold about 3.5, 4 pints of oil. They don't hold much at all. So you let them drop a pint and you're into some trouble. So do be careful with them. But it's just, look at that, super, shut like a Golf, eh? It's as a three-wheeler should look. I dare say it, and it sounds a bit silly, but it's as good as one of them should look. If it looked any better than that, then it would look false and it wouldn't be usable and you'd be scared to use it possibly. That is plenty good enough. I don't know, the expenditure would be horrendous, of course, but the actual level of restoration you've done is bang on.
I think it's lovely.
I've never seen it before, so I'm excited.
From the 16th of July, our name's changing, but we're not. Yesterday is becoming You and Yesterday. Same channel, new name.